We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to another edition of AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H. This is AVRant. It's your home theater and AV questions answered, and I'm trying to keep the gloom away there, Tom. I guess I just really shouldn't keep up with world news whatsoever anymore.
Don't do that.
It's just
live in ignorance like I do, and most people here in the States have to these days because it's crushing.
Yeah,
news is crushing.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
yes.
Global news, and then just general online news and tone and tenor, like I was commenting before. You know, all the comments that you see online is like it's a very small percentage, but at the same time, that's what you see online. And
they're
then
so loud.
Like the thing that just got me down. I guess yesterday was when I saw that there was a purging on YouTube. Basically, they, without any real warning or recourse, just said, you know what, on YouTube we're not going to allow external links anymore. In your video description. In comments for a long time, you often, your comment wouldn't show up if you included an external link, which for security purposes in the comments, I kind of understand. But as far as in the description of your video, as a creator posting on YouTube, it's kind of so we can't even just link to our website anymore. They're just we're not gonna, and so it's kind of been some pages, the links still work, and some pages that don't work, and some pages the creators are being warned, hey, remove all the links from your YouTube descriptions, otherwise we won't allow you to post anymore. And then others, it's just it's there, but the links don't function. And then others, the links are still functioning just fine. And I don't know if it's a country by country thing or whatever, but all of that, it's okay, whatever, fine, whatever. External links are broken for creators. Okay, sure, that's horrible for people who rely on affiliate links and all that type of stuff, but that's whatever it is. The bad part is, again, without any type of warning or hey, take these links down or else, YouTube just unilaterally purged a whole bunch of people, and not surprisingly, I don't know, I don't have the raw figures and data on this, but it sure seems like it was mostly women creators whose channels all got purged. And the horrible people are pointing out oh, well, they included links in their descriptions, not necessarily directly, often through a link tree or something like that, but it's some of these creators had Fansly accounts or even OnlyFans accounts. Oh my goodness. Oh. And I'm if they're adults, so what? They can do whatever the heck they want as consenting adults. For most of them, there was nothing explicit about any of the content. And like I say, it sure seemed to be a whole lot more women creators than men creators. Gosh, I wonder what the double standard there might be. Yeah. But yeah, oodles and oodles.
Who's going to those websites and paying all the money for the content that they're saying is bad? That'd be my question, I guess, because those are the same people that are doing all the purging. So, yeah.
But it's absolutely ridiculous that, again, no warning, no recourse. Their channels are just gone. The entire channel is not even the channel still like we've seen before, where there's been a security issue on somebody's channel, and their channel is there, but all the videos are hidden or blocked or something like that because of a security issue. No, these creators' channels are utterly gone. It sure seems like maybe there'll be some way to reinstate them or something like that, but many of those creators have already reached out to the only thing they can reach out to, which is a totally automated process on YouTube, which is we've carefully reviewed your channel, and it doesn't adhere to our strict guidelines, and therefore we have just deleted your channel, again, without any warning, which is very, very strange. So I'm very tempted to just be like, do we need YouTube? Like just in solidarity and protest. Like maybe we just don't have an AVRant YouTube channel anymore.
That'd be fine with me.
I mean,
it's
who
a lot
knows?
of work on your part.
Maybe we
anyways.
don't. I didn't check this morning. Maybe ours is gone too because I have external links in our description.
How dare we? Want to link back to the place where we got the thing.
Yes.
The information.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, we're not just talking about linking to ourselves. We're talking about linking to like articles and reviews and products and stuff like that.
Of course.
And and they're not affiliate links because Rob doesn't have the ability to create affiliate links because I haven't given it to him because I'm lazy. And then
like, again, like there's a certain amount of, if you include external links on any site, including YouTube, there is the possibility of security risks that could be a part of it. I understand that. But the notion of, well, it's not even just we don't like the thing you directly link to. We don't like the link that you had that links to other things that we apparently don't like in our puritanical view of the world over at YouTube, and therefore we're going to delete your entire channel. I mean, that is just, that's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And yet, there's stuff that is outright illegal that is still viewable on YouTube. So what the heck is the moderation policy actually going on? There is no
moderation policy. I don't know what else is going on. I'm sure somebody's going to blame AI, and it's probably true.
Yes.
I was actually thinking about that this weekend as I was driving around. I was thinking about the way that Google and YouTube and a lot of other like hosting sites or sites that you use to get things done or you use to make money. So, your placement on Google is so important. And Google historically over the years has changed the rules significantly overnight and without any warning. To make it so that where you were the number one listing, you're now not even on the front page or not even, whatever. And you have to go back and figure out the new SEO, what they're looking for, and then redo everything. And often it takes a ton of work. And the same sort of thing with like the algorithms that are on YouTube or on TikTok or whatever. I see like a lot of TikTok creators that will like, listen, I haven't changed anything about what I do.
Yes.
But I've gone from, a steady stream of moderation of monetization, where my videos are getting. I'm not a large content creator, but I get pushed to it enough people that they show up on their For You page, which is the only way you get paid on TikTok, from what I understand.
Seems like, yep.
Yeah, and now they've just decided, for whatever reason, that none of my videos are worth being pushed to the For You page. Yeah. For whatever reason. And they haven't explained why, and, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is very clearly, at least to me, a way of not paying people and to get them doing free work. So these people are going to continue to post quality content, which, they're going to do, but now you're not going to have to pay them because you've taken them off the front page, and then you're going to change all the rules, make them do a bunch of extra work, and all of that. And I'm just, it's unsustainable. People are trying to make a living and some people are doing that through creative means, and I think that's a great thing. Quite a few creators that I follow started content creation because they couldn't work a regular job or couldn't find a regular job to work, and therefore this is what they're doing, and this has started making them money, and they thought, okay, this is my new thing. But to have the rug pulled out from under them so many times, it's only a matter of time before they give up. And I'm like, is that what we should be doing? If somebody is good at doing a thing, shouldn't we support them?
I mean, it's not if the people who own the platforms don't have complete and utter control. That's the thing that freaks them out the most. I mean, obviously the clear example of, hey, I mean, is there really any alternative we can point to that is a true competitor to YouTube? I mean, obviously there's other places on the internet where you can watch videos, but like as a holistic thing, does anything honestly compete with YouTube? And I have to say the answer is no. YouTube is a monopoly for what YouTube is.
Right.
There's nothing
Vimeo
else that
for a
competes.
while, and they never got
Vimeo
quite big enough. And then there's lots of other like
short
I
form,
see
lots and lots of short form.
well, short form, but even long
that,
form. There's like
YouTube.
super long form educational sites that you can go to and you sign up for, and you have to pay for it, before you even get in there.
They're
but
nowhere close to the reach of YouTube.
Not exactly.
Not even
close.
Remotely a blip compared to that. So I mean, here's the problem with a monopoly. they can do whatever they want, and honestly, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
Where else are you going to go? And I mean, on the flip side, I mean, I've always been of the opinion of, look, as a content creator, you're not entitled. You're not entitled to the rules of YouTube being what you want them to be. You can be vocal about it. You can fight for it. You can sue over it. You can do all kinds of things, but you're not actually entitled. I mean, YouTube is not a government agency.
Right.
You can't vote people in and out. They are a privately held company that can make the rules whatever the heck they want. They can change the rules whenever they want, and therefore you are not actually entitled to any kind of security as a content creator, but just on a human level, and also on a self-beneficial and preservation level for YouTube themselves. Like, you start making it a really awful place for the people who make the content to be, and what do you think the outcomes are eventually going to be of that when you just start strangling the very thing that makes your platform the place that people want to come to?
For those of you that noticed that on Amazon, over the years, Amazon has become less a place to buy the thing that you want and more a place to buy the knockoff of the thing that you want.
And the searching gets worse and worse and worse. And
this is exactly what's going on. Amazon has all kind of rules and about how you can price things and their return policies and how quickly you have to get things out and how and when they get paid. There's like a 90-day lead time. You don't get paid for a long time after you get something out. So there's I might be wrong about that 90 days, so if somebody don't correct me, I don't care. The point
the rules
being,
could change tomorrow for all we know, so who knows?
Yeah. So, but I've noticed over the years that I used to go to if I was looking for a thing, I could go to Amazon and find the thing. Sure. Now I found that if I'm looking for a thing, I can't find it there anymore. Yeah. I can find something that looks exactly like it. But it's not the thing. It's not what I wanted. It's not the name brand. It's something else. And all of these drop shippers and everything else that's going on over there has taken that website. I mean, we stopped ordering as much from Amazon. Sure. Sort of on a ideal, let's just say political level. We just decided we didn't want to support them as much. We still occasionally order from Amazon, just like we. If you've got a store in town that you don't like the people that own the store, but they're the only ones that sell the thing, then you got to go buy the thing from them. That's the only place you can get it. And I can't
say else. I'm never going to watch a YouTube video again. A video posted on YouTube. Like I'll admit that I'm going to watch a video that's posted on YouTube in the future. I don't have that type of boycott ability, but also, wouldn't it be great if you could go to an alternative besides Amazon and YouTube and have it actually be viable and be able to voice your protest in that way? Wouldn't that be a great thing in this world?
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep the gloom away, but I guess all of this to say, to tie it all back into AVRant and us in particular, I'm just giving the warning now. If the AVRant podcast YouTube channel disappears on you one day, don't expect me to lift a finger of effort to try and get it back. I'm just like, if you want to pull us off of the internet because some of our videos from the past 10 years include links to external places, and I'm not going to go back through
every single video in the last 10 years.
I am not going back through all of those text descriptions and removing every external link I've ever posted on YouTube. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. And you know what? I'm not even going to prompt an AI to do it for me. Even that is too much effort. So just letting all of our AVRant listeners know, if our YouTube channel disappears, it ain't coming back. I'm not going to make the effort to do that. So there you go. Yeah. Sorry. Fair warning.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Rob's angry.
It's I don't get how this benefits them.
We railed against all the anti-piracy device things that they would put into movies and video games that would break
all the DRM and that,
the DRM and stuff like that. It just did nothing but punish people who wanted to make legal copies of their movies.
I don't see how it's helping ATSC 3.0 right now, the next gen TV. I don't see how that DRM is helping them at this point. But there you go, another example.
There's always going to be decisions that make sense to people. I swear to you, it's just like AI. People who don't know what they're talking about think AI is brilliant. Meaning, if you ask AI to do a thing you don't have the first clue as to how to do, you think AI is brilliant. But if you know what you're talking about and you ask AI how to do a thing you actually know how to do, you're going to be like, I mean, that's not technically wrong. I mean, that might work.
Here's the thing.
Sometimes it is completely wrong, but
shouldn't AI be good at something like, say, doing a thing that absolutely no even gigantic team of human beings could do viably, which is go through and click every link that's posted in every description of every video on YouTube. Like, it doesn't matter how many humans you hire, that's not a viable task. But isn't that the sort of thing that AI should be able to go through and do? Click on every link in every description of every YouTube video and be like, oh, hey, this link leads somewhere bad, and we block that link. Like, okay, like not just we blanket block every external link, and not just we take down creators' channels because they didn't remove all their links. How about you use the tool to do the thing that doesn't make sense to hire humans to do because it can do it so much faster? Seems like that would be a good use.
I guess I'm gonna have to let Rob get some more stuff out before we move on from this topic.
No, I'm
Seems
ready
to be the
move on,
case.
but, anyway, yes.
All right. Well, Rob has been angry this week. I've been very busy. So doing a lot of improv stuff. So I know that's not really something we talk about that much on this channel, but I do.
We do talk about it.
I've been doing a lot of it. I'm very burnt out. I am right at the edge of just like throwing in the towel, walking away and saying, telling everybody, all right, I'm out. And this happens all the time in these groups. And if you've ever been a member of a group that's where well, actually any group, like exercise or anything really, or whatever, somebody will come in and they'll get like hot and heavy for it. And, they're there all the time and they're volunteering and they're helping and they're doing all this stuff. I didn't do any of that volunteering stuff, but, being around constantly, and all of a sudden they disappear. That's happens all the time in improv. We see that constantly. And I've been very careful not to overextend myself into it, but, I'm right on the verge right now of just being, okay, I need to take a step back. So the end of this month will be me taking a step back, hopefully.
I see.
So I'm working through that. So this week was heavy improv. Last week, this week, it will also be heavy improv. But after that, it should be slowing down quite a bit.
So like that show that you're a part of, the one that you mentioned on the podcast before, like I'm assuming there is a start date and an end date to that.
The update on that is, so that show runs through the end of August, and which I'm very excited about. I just did. So there's three roles, the three possible roles that you play each night. One is the core four, which is like the player character. So if you ever play D&D, one of the people who's playing a character, that's player characters. There's NPCs or non-player characters, or two people who make up everything else in the world. So if they meet a bad guy, that's just the person. Nice. If they have to go over a rock, somebody will come out there and play a rock.
Gotcha.
Just silly stuff like that. And then there's the DM who sort of sets everything up and gets the, describes the settings and controls kind of how the world works and helps determine the outcomes of things that are happening. And for me, the most stressful, the best role is the NPC. You're so much fun. You're constantly on your feet. You're sweating like crazy by the end of the hour. The core four is also very fun, but you're holding onto one character for a full hour, which is a little bit harder. And trying to give them a character arc and trying to make them interesting. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but the DM is the hardest. The DM trying to keep all the different threads alive, remember what people said, try to make all the promises pay off by the end, and all while making the story interesting and keeping it moving along. So I was DM this last week. It's only you only play DM once throughout, because there's there's just 6 weeks.
All
and there's 10
the cast
10
members,
people.
you rotate around what roles you play.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm Core 4 twice, I am NPC once, and I'm DM once.
Okay.
The 6 weeks I play 4 weeks. So I played DM last week, and that is extremely stressful. I was extremely worried about it. It went pretty well. You can always do better, but it went pretty well. So I was very happy with how that went. But we have like a notebook, and you have a little table that you sit off to the side so you can take notes and stuff like that. And at the very beginning, people are shouting out names and places that we are, and I'm supposed to be writing them down, but I've got so much adrenaline because I just started the show and we just got going, and I'm so amped and nervous that I couldn't write. Like, it was just, my hand was just shaking. So, but it turned out okay. So I'm very excited. Like I said, and the other big news about D6 is, like I said, it goes through August, but beginning of September, Tampa Bay Comic-Con is here, and we are going to be doing D6 at Tampa Bay Comic-Con.
Very cool.
So
very cool.
I might be either the Friday or the Saturday show, or both. I don't know. So we shall see what we shall see. But I'm very excited about that. There's the whole cast is super amped for it. So you actually find awesome. Me on the Tampa Bay Comic Con website now. I have a bio up there.
Cool.
So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my big news.
You
got anything else you want to share other than how much you want to burn YouTube to the ground and how late stage capitalism is terrible? Go on.
No, I don't think I have anything else to comment on right now.
All right. So what did you watch? Because I didn't watch crap.
Oh, okay.
I've been watching the Tour de France and the Tour de France Femmes, which the Femmes was crazy this week. This one woman went off the front. She's 27 years old. She went off the front of the race, of the peloton, and then there was a lead group, and she just rode right past the lead group, and she went out in the front and was in the front in the wind for 113 kilometers by herself and won the stage. Nothing like that has ever been done before. And she was being chased by, first of all, if you're saying, why aren't you saying her name? I can't. Okay. She's like from Denmark, and her name is weird, and I can't pronounce it. So I'm going to try to learn it.
I'll bet it's not so weird in Denmark.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not. But Lotte Kopecky, who is a very famous female rider and is a big name in the sport, was chasing her down and got within 10 seconds of her, which means you could have seen her going around corners. And I was like, well, there's no way she's getting away from Kopecky. There's just no chance, because Kopecky is just way too strong. And she did. She put another minute on her, and I was like, I can't believe it. I cannot believe that she stayed out there for that long. It was an amazing run. So this has been a really cool Tour de France Femmes. Right. So I'm excited about that.
Well, there you go. You watched something indeed. It just wasn't a movie. It wasn't a scripted movie or TV show.
I didn't finish Wonder Man, and I did get the news that they canceled it. They canceled it after renewing it. Yes, it was renewed. It was renewed for season 2, and then they decided to cancel it. So probably YouTube did that. I think we should probably
more good news in the world.
More good news.
The unrenewal. That's happened to things before. The unrenewals.
Yes. I wish I knew. I don't know. I wish I knew what was going on over at Marvel and stuff, because I just Disney and Marvel and all those things. I don't quite understand. Like, when you look at the decisions that they're making, the things that they've done, you're like, why are certain things still going through and other things aren't? Why are we in this weird sort of, like, you guys feel like you seem like you really knew what you were doing. Yep. And then all of a sudden you didn't, and now you can't get it back.
I mean, they have gone through 3 CEOs in a pandemic, so it kind of threw wrenches in things.
I know. But it's something over there is, it's very strange. It's very strange. So I would love to know. But go on, Rob. What did you watch?
Can never get Mahershala on screen as Blade is just the most bizarre of things.
That is how badly do I want to see another Blade movie?
Dude's going to be 70 by the time he gets up there.
How badly do I want to see another Blade movie? I want to see it so bad. I want to see Moon Knight. I want to see more Moon Knight. I want to see more, what's her name as Hawkeye. I want to see all of that. Yeah, I want to see.
She's going to be 35 before they get her back on screen again. So it's like...
I don't know what
Young
they're going to
Avengers,
do.
eh?
Yeah, Young Avengers. Well, I mean, whatever. But I would love to see some more of these people come back. I thought there was some really Miss Marvel. When to see her come back, I mean, she's still a joy to watch. I mean, she's like you said, she's going to be like 40 before.
That's right. You could just make a Blade movie. Doesn't necessarily have to tie into anything.
That's right. That's what made the other movies so good.
With an awesome
They were just trying
actor.
to make a good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this Captain America trilogy.
Right.
It's just 3 good movies. That's all it is. Just 3 good movies.
But I mean, Civil War was basically an Avengers movie, so it's kind of hard to make that one without the rest of the Marvel universe. Anyway, yeah, the
2
one I'm
good movies and a tie-in. How about that?
The one I'm choked about unrenewals was nothing Marvel that was over on Netflix, which was Glow, right? Glow never got its last season. I'm like, where is my final season of Glow? You can't just leave it there, you stupid Netflix. But that's what they did, and they unrenewed it because it was renewed for a final season. Ugh, terrible, terrible times. What a timeline we live in. But anyway, I watched one movie this week, and I'm not going to say it's the cure to what ails you, but at least this isn't a gloom and doom movie, which was the Super Mario Galaxy movie, because that has now hit Amazon Prime video streaming, so that is the way I watched it, which means I saw it in HDR10 Plus, because I watched this one on my Samsung TV that supports HDR10 Plus. Yeah. So Super Mario Galaxy movie is it definitely has like it's a sequel because you could just hear one of the 3 directors of this movie, because this is a movie that has 3 directors credited to it, strangely.
I feel like that's too many directors.
One writer and 3 directors. Well, the writer is also one of the directors, but a little bit unusual for it to be that balanced. It's pretty common to see 1 director and 3 writers, but not the other way around. But anyway, you could basically just hear all 3 of those directors in the background of this movie screaming, more, faster, put more on the screen, do more things, get out of this scene and do more, because that is what this movie is. It is mile a minute. It is just cram-packed with every single visual reference you could possibly imagine. Like, more, put more in there. You liked all the references you saw in the background of the Super Mario Brothers movie? Well, this is a Super Mario Galaxy movie, and it is everything you can possibly imagine on screen.
A galaxy
all
full
the time. I mean, it's multiple galaxies. You're traveling between galaxies. That's what's going on in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So everything is here. It's all there all the time for a fleeting fraction of a second to try and clock what you just saw on screen in some corner of the image, and then we're on to the next thing, and it is go. I appreciated just how many musical motifs from throughout not just the Mario universe of things. Like I say, everything is here. I'm not going to spoil some of the fun surprises of characters that show up in this movie. You've probably seen it if you've looked up anything online about this movie, but I'm not going to spoil that in case you haven't, because there are some fun things when certain characters show up. And they include their musical motifs as well, of course. But again, it's just like, well, we're going to give you 2 seconds of every musical motif, and they're all just going to be crammed together. I have to give credit to the composer on this movie, because not that they were, purely doing original compositions. This is all taking all of these musical motifs from oodles and oodles of Nintendo properties and games. But my goodness, is it just relentless? Like that score just never lets up. It is absolutely constant throughout this entire movie. I'm like, that is a challenge. To compose all that is a challenge. To fit all of those musical motifs and all of those transitions together absolutely is a challenge that requires a tremendous amount of skill, and it is utterly relentless. They have done away with the needle drops, which I think was probably a money-saving thing more than anything, because needle drops cost so much money, and there were quite a few of them in the Super Mario Brothers movie, and by not having the needle drops, you don't have to pay all of that money for the licensed music, but in its place is just more and more and more video game music and musical motifs, and I appreciated it on the one hand, but on the other hand, I was just like, somebody was screaming more in the background. Like, no, it can't be 5 seconds of that musical motif. Cut it in half and put another one in there. That's what we're going to do in this movie.
That seems like a lot of music. 10 whole seconds.
Now, I am going to say where I was smiling and having the most fun this movie, because honestly, I did smile and have fun with this movie. But where I had it the most was when it went the most overboard. I was like, you know what? Just do that. Like, don't even slow down for a fraction of a second to try and have anything resembling an emotional moment in this movie.
No.
Just go full throttle the entire way, and I would have enjoyed it even more. Because the Super Mario Brothers movie, which by and large was critically pretty well received, I don't think people were scoring it like 99% and giving it an A+, but it's like, you know, the Rotten Tomatoes way of doing it was like, is this a thumbs up or a thumbs down? It was pretty much universally a thumbs up, but it was pretty much universally I mean, it could have been better. It's pretty much targeted at kids, but you know what? It's perfectly fine to watch. There's basically nothing bad about the Super Mario Brothers movie, and it's a fun time. And you know what? It had a little bit of heart to it, and it had a little bit of heartstrings to it, and it had a little bit of, you know, family and feeling like maybe you're not good enough and proving yourself, and it like had those little bit of messages. It didn't harp on them, it didn't go deep on them, but it included those themes, and there was a little bit more to the Super Mario Brothers movie than just pure visual candy. The Super Mario Galaxy movie, there's a whiff, there's a hint of there being a little bit of emotion. There's a whiff of some familial relationships which are kind of paralleled thrice over in this movie. It's like it's there. It's not that I'm making it up thinking that there could have been a little more depth to this movie, but my goodness, is that not the point of this movie? The point of this movie is show you as many things as we possibly can and play you as much music as we possibly can. And like I say, where I enjoyed it the most is when it went to the absolute extreme limit of it and was just as over the top as it could possibly be. And if it was going to go in a different direction than it did, I'm like, just more of that. let's just go completely madcap on this. Yes,
sounds like it was made for the scrolling generation. You know, they just 10 seconds and scroll, 5 seconds and scroll.
You can't blink in this. You can't look away for a fraction of a second, which I think was the point. I think the point was, we don't want you looking at your phone while you're watching this movie, so you're going to miss a whole bunch. If you glance, if you look down at your drink holder to find where you put your Coke down, like, my goodness, you're going to miss half of this movie in that split second that you looked away. Like, that's the type of pace that's going on here. Now, I got to say, it's gorgeous. It's a visually gorgeous movie. Like, if you just want to have your display show you some vibrant colors and some amazing textures and some crazy HDR, like, here you go. It is all the visual splendor. Pause at any moment, and my goodness, is there a gazillion details on the screen that you missed at first blush. It's pretty darn good audio-wise, too. I'm not going to say it's the maximum showcase. Again, there's so much going on all the time that it's hard to pick out any sounds in particular. I don't know if this is a great Atmos showcase or not. Every speaker is just playing full blare all the time. Is that a good Atmos showcase? I don't really know.
We finally got our all channels driven.
It is all channels driven. It is everything all driven all at the same time. Funnily enough, they introduce some lore in this movie to the Mario, pantheon of characters that was never in any of the Mario games. I thought that was kind of interesting that they just decided to be like, hey, we're going to have a little lore drop in here that's existed nowhere else before. So there you go. That was your creativity for this. But yeah, you're not watching this movie for the plot, because it's not quite all the way down to the level of, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. It's better than that. I'm going to give it credit that the writing is better than that level. There are some actual therefore and but statements in between the plot moments that happen very rapidly in succession. But where I want to make a genuine criticism of the writing is there is setup and payoff, right? That's pretty basic screenwriting 101, but they happen very quickly. The setup happens, and then 1 or 2 scenes later, the payoff for that setup is paid off. There's no, we're establishing something at the beginning of the movie and you got to wait till the end of the movie for it to pay off. It's just like, no, we're going to introduce a new idea, a new goal, a new place to be. We're going to introduce it here now for some reason, and then a scene or 2 later we're going to pay that off, and off we go to the next thing. This is the opposite of a slow burn. It is, everything goes as rapidly as it possibly can, and so I don't feel like that is the strongest writing. It's like I say, it's verging on, and then this happened. It's just a tiny tick above that level of problematic screenwriting, in my opinion. So there you go. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is not as good of a movie as the Super Mario Brothers movie. But, you know, hey, it's grossed over $1 million at the worldwide box office. They're going to make more Nintendo movies. We already know the live-action Zelda is coming, and it's very clear one of the other characters that shows up in this movie is clearly getting a spin-off at some point, and they've introduced, just like they teased Yoshi at the end of the Super Mario Brothers movie, they've teased the next Mario character who's going to show up and probably have a smaller role than you expect in the next Super Mario movie of some sort, and it's all there. It's all there for your eyes and ears, and you can have a fun time. You can revel in the splendor of it all. You can be like, hey, I recognize that, and then it's already gone, and on to the next thing, and that's the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Exciting.
Isn't it, though?
All right. Let me go back to here since I was doing other things.
I'm sure you were.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Good. I'm going to thank this is AVRant, the podcast that answers your home theater and AV questions. Get your questions answered. All you have to do is ask. You ask by emailing us at question@avrant.com. We want to thank our listeners of the week.
Other contact information? We're Whoa, you're muted, I think, Tom. What happened here? I've lost your audio. The mic is not connected. All right, well, while Tom tries to sort that out, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of our contact information here. Hey, you're back. All right.
I tapped the cable. And
something happened there.
So, yes, I'm all discombobulated. Anyways, okay.
Yes.
AVRant podcast answer your home theater questions. Yes. You can find us at avrant.com.
Perhaps even more important than ever before, our actual website, avrant.com.
Our actual website, because that might be the only place you can find us.
Until WordPress decides to change the rules on us and says you can't have any external links from a WordPress website anymore, because who knows, that might be the case.
That might be the
There are alternatives to WordPress, though, unlike some other websites.
avrant.com. You can find our shows or show notes or links to any products or articles that we reference.
That's right.
There will be links.
Yep.
They're not affiliate links.
They're not.
So, whatever. Find our previous shows. You can find a link to a Flickr album, another link.
Mm-hmm.
To a Flickr album, so you can follow along with the pictures that people send us when they send us their questions, so you can kind of know, you can visualize what we're seeing and talking about.
That's right.
Facebook.com/AVRant podcast, where there's also links. YouTube.com/AVRant podcast or AVRant
for however long that lasts.
For however long that lasts.
Wouldn't it be great if YouTube just purged everybody, like just utterly destroyed themselves because of their stupid rules changes?
I'm convinced it's an AI thing. That's the only thing. There's somebody that said, "No, let's have an AI do. Let's have an AI, get rid of bad links, like you said."
Yes.
And it's like, just going to arbitrarily purge a bunch of stuff.
I would kind of enjoy if just everybody's YouTube channel was suddenly gone. I would enjoy the fallout from that.
So YouTube. Contact Rob directly, rob@avrant.com. His socials is at First Reflect. I'm Tom at avrant.com. Yes. I don't do socials.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try not to touch my cable because apparently that freaked everything out. I want to thank our listeners of the week. To become a listener of the week, to support the podcast in some way. One of the ways you can do that is going to avrant.com, click on the Buy Us a Cup of Coffee link, and send us a PayPal donation. If you want to send us, sign up to be a monthly contributor, you can go to patreon.com/AVRant podcast, where you can become one of our 119 patrons over at patreon.com. It is the beginning of the month. Mm-hmm. We did lose somebody.
Somebody
so we were at
dropped
120,
off.
And we're now at 119, which feels significantly lower than 120. So there you go.
The numbers
Thank you to all our patrons, though.
Numbers went down across the board there. Yeah, that is patreon.com/AVRant podcast if you'd like to sign up to make an automatic monthly donation. Big thanks to our 119 patrons over there. I guess maybe we'll have to start posting videos on Patreon. That's what everyone else is doing, right?
I know.
That's
we
what
might have
everyone else is doing.
That's how we're going to have to make money.
Imagine if Patreon decides to change the rules. Imagine if Patreon started caring about copyright, because, oh my goodness, would every reactor channel who relies on Patreon to make their money for being a reaction channel, if they started enforcing copyright on Patreon, that'd be the end of days for all your reactors out there.
All right. We also got some notes of gratitude from keeping the podcast going from Steve, Martin, Leighton, Jason, and David. So thank you for thanking us.
Yes, indeed. Once again, those names are Steve, Martin, Leighton, Jason, and David. Thank you very much for the notes of gratitude and encouragement. We appreciate them. And a big, big thank you to everybody out there who continues to listen and send in your questions.
In the news, Emotiva has released a new subwoofer to go along with their Nostala LB12 loudspeakers. So we can officially say there's an Emotiva Nostala series now. Now, I had to go look this up right before the podcast. I usually don't scroll down, but I did scroll down for whatever reason. And I think I was looking at the PayPal thing to make sure I didn't miss anybody, which I didn't. Nobody had sent anything in this week. So I looked up Nostala, and I had forgotten. I think I'd purged my memory of these speakers because as I immediately exclaimed to Rob with many words that I can't say because of YouTube, because people sometimes listen to this in the car with their kids, you could not give me these speakers. If the delivery driver showed up on my doorstep with them in a box, I would refuse the delivery. Yeah. These are the antithesis of everything I like about speakers. And I'm not saying they don't sound good. I am not saying you're a bad person if you think they look good. If they bring back a nostalgic memory for you of you listening to audio with your father in the garage while he worked on cars or whatever it is that is the Norman Rockwell-esque image you have in your mind of these speakers. More power to you. Sure. Enjoy them. Buy them. Love them. There's a subwoofer that matches them now. You could not give me these speakers. These
did not go in the back pocket for Tom to be like, oh, hey, I know these are the ones I'm going to recommend to somebody. These got deleted from the memory.
I immediately purged from the database. I just don't get it.
You can't deny that these absolutely look a lot like some very nostalgic speakers for people, which is clearly the intent. This did not happen by accident over on Emotiva's
everything I know about front baffle design and tweeters and mid ranges, and I don't know that much. Let's be honest. I am not a speaker designer. Never pretended to be. I don't try to explain to you, the physics of how sound refracts off of the front baffle and everything. But everything I do know about front baffles is that this should not sound good. At least it is. You are hamstringing yourself by trying to make it look like this and also sound good. Like there's a reason why tweeters are putting waveguides and that there's rounded corner edges on the front baffles of speakers and why they're centrally located and not off to one side for the most part. Now, I'm not saying that really good speaker manufacturers don't do like offset tweeters, because you can look at RBH and they had them big monstrous T whatever things with 4 tweeters, and they were in a weird like crescent moons thing off to one side with mid-ranges all around them. I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm saying that I look at this speaker and I think, why? Why do this?
Because it looks like that. That is why.
I absolutely hate it. Okay. Absolutely hate everything about it. I hate the way it looks. I hate the grill. I hate the fact that the grill comes in only gray and dirty white. I hate the 2 ports at the bottom, round ports at the bottom,
which are not covered by the grill.
About it.
It's very much not visually covered by the grill whatsoever. Are those double ports? But those are the Nostala speakers. Those are floor standing speakers that were out there before, and they were the only thing that existed before that was called Nostala from Emotiva. But now they've introduced a subwoofer, so we can say there's a Nostala series at this point. Yeah.
Is that the whole news?
Well, I mean, there's everything I wrote about it. You can get into some details.
I didn't read that yet. I just got off track immediately. Anyway,
sure did.
The new Nostala FT12 subwoofer uses a 12-inch panel. It's like, we're done, right? I already purged it, Rob. It's been purged. The new Nostala FT12 subwoofer uses a 12-inch paper cone powered by an 800-watt class. There's so many words I did not read. Really 800-watt Class D amplifier in a 15.5-inch wide by 20.5-inch tall by 20.5-inch deep, dual-ported, front-ported, 68-pound cabinet. Well, it's a lot.
I mean, honestly, that's lighter than I would kind of expect for that physical size, if we're being honest.
It's pretty big.
Pretty big.
Yeah. The finish is genuine walnut veneer. Okay. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not vinyl that's been made to look like walnut. It's actual
It's
walnut
true. I get
veneer.
it. I get what they're saying, and I know that it costs more, but it's it's kind of like genuine pseudo suede. Like, what? With either a light gray or dark gray magnetically attached grill. Both grill colors are included in the box.
Yes.
Light gray or dark gray. So I guess that's what the dirty white is, I said
I mean,
before.
they call it beige, but that doesn't really look like beige to me. Isn't beige a little bit more yellowy tinged than that?
don't know.
That just looks like a very light gray to me is what it is.
It looks like a color that doesn't match anything in your house.
But it's very much the same style as the Nostala speakers, right? It does not cover the ports, and it's got its little pentagonal shape that's going on there, 5-sided shape with the little pointy going down to its Emotiva logo there. Yeah,
it's priced at $1,800.
It is.
Around back, there are more connections than we often see on modern subs. There's a mono XLR input and a dedicated mono RCA input. There are also left and right RCA inputs that are clearly labeled as being summed together. And there are left and right speaker wire binding posts. Volume, crossover, frequency, and phase are all fully variable and controlled with knobs on the back. Power can be set to always on or auto sensing. And then there's a 3.5 millimeter measurement mic jack where you can plug in the included microphone. The 800 watt Class D amp includes a 56-bit DSP, which seems out of place in this style of speaker.
Not sure whether nostalgia fits in there. Yeah.
Provides automatic, quote, room correction, end quote. We're a little suspect of the methodology, though. The manual says that the measurement mic is intended to be hand held. You're supposed to hold the mic pointed straight up at a distance of 1 meter from the center of the 12-inch driver.
So pretty close to the floor is where the cord coming out the bottom. Yes. To
activate the measurement system, you have to press and hold the cal/preset button on the back of the sub until the LED indicator light starts flashing. And the manual says you have to immediately, it's literally in all caps in the manual, move around to the front of the subwoofer and hold the mic in the proper position. It will play some test tones and then tootle, that is again their word, tootle.
I mean,
what does
I wouldn't
a tootle
have come
sound
up with
like?
I'm like, Doodaloo?
It sounds like something that happens in the bathroom. That's all I'm going to
Doodaloo?
say.
Something like that. Doodaloo? That would be a tootle in my mind.
Anyways, that indicates that the calibration is complete. The included room correction aside, they claim a minus 3 dB extension down to 25 hertz, and in-room peak output at 117.5 dB SPL at 40 hertz for whatever that's worth. So, it's a 30 hertz sub, which is fine for the style of. I got no problems with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
this style.
This is definitely aimed at a 2-channel plus sub music listening system. There's really no question in my mind about that. I mean, honestly, I'm really quite pleased with the jack pack, all the various inputs that are available on this. I'm quite pleased with that because I like that they've included, whatever methodology you want. You're not going to need an adapter. You can plug this subwoofer in any way you want. I'm very happy to see fully variable phase on this. That's not a given in my mind for a subwoofer that's aimed at this target demographic. So I like that the controls that I would want to see are there. $1,800, I'm like, yep, I can buy a sub that plays louder and lower for $1,800 than this subwoofer for my home theater type purposes. I can probably point to something better, but this is clearly about the looks of the thing matching their very own Nostala speakers. I like the jack pack. I probably wouldn't aim for that methodology of doing a quote unquote room correction because I am very suspect about how all of that worked, particularly with a mic that you're holding in your hand, for goodness sake. But all of those things aside, I think if you added this to their Nostala speakers, it would help fill in the low end. I have little question of that.
Yes. I can hear my son has finally woken up and is now making cereal. So if you hear something that sounds like glass breaking, that's just Cheerios.
Gotcha.
KEF has released their newest speaker model in their wireless LS series. The new LS LUXE, L-U-X-E, uses a 6.5-inch aluminum Uni-Q driver with a 1-inch aluminum tweeter and a sculpted bookshelf cabinet. In terms of size, price, and performance, it slots right between the $3,000 LS50 Wireless 2 and the $6,000 LS60 Wireless Towers. The LUXE costs $4,000 per pair in your choice of Eclipse Black, Mineral White, or Dusk Titanium finish. So black, white, or gray. Is that or
yes.
silver? Is it silver or gray?
I mean, the titanium one, it's got that kind of like, it's mostly a metallic gray, but with that little twinge of color that titanium has. So yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, anyway. All right, I actually saw these in an email that came out, and I was like, "This is the most unremarkable thing I've ever seen."
They look like very large pebbles.
I don't understand why this is a thing and why people why they release this. Like it's not different. To me, it's not different enough from everything else they do. Okay, so it's a rounder enclosure, but I mean it's
with a 6.5-inch woofer instead of a 5 1/4. Like that's the difference between the LS50 Wireless 2 and the LS LUXE is it's instead of a 5 1/4, it's a 6.5-inch woofer.
It's the noticeably smooth, rounded shape was sculpted by Ross Lovegrove. I love how they have to find somebody to say, "Hey, have you ever thought of making it round?" The same designer who created the KEF Muon cabinets and their MU3 and MU7 earphones. There are no grills for the LS LUXE speakers, and since a pair of speakers can communicate, wirelessly with each other, there are 2 power cord connections, one for each speaker. Inside each and every driver gets its own amp. The 6.5-inch woofers are powered by a 280-watt Class C amp, and the 1-inch tweeters are powered by 100-watt Class AB amps.
Yeah.
It's because it's never getting anywhere near 100 watts. There's never going to be any heat coming off of this thing. Anyways, on the back of the primary speaker, you'll find an HDMI eARC port, as well as an optical Toslink and coax digital. There's a 3.5 millimeter analog, auxiliary input as well, but no RCA inputs and no phono input, which is kind of surprising. I mean, got a round speaker, you want to play something round with it. There's an Ethernet jack to connect to your network if you don't want to use Wi-Fi, and a second Ethernet jack that provides an optional wired connection to the secondary speaker. The USB-C port is just for updates. It does not accept USB audio signals. I super duper would want to connect those 2 speakers together. I figured
it's just an Ethernet cable, so it's not expensive.
Yeah, it's not expensive. It's got that big blue cable going between 2 of them. There's an RCA subwoofer output that automatically activates a crossover. Via the KEF Connect app, you can choose from subwoofer presets that are designed to integrate the LS LUXE with the range of KEF subwoofer models. You also get a remote control, so you aren't forced to use the app for every single day-to-day control. The secondary speaker just has the optional Ethernet jack and a USB-C service port, but also has its own subwoofer output jack, so a dual subwoofer configuration is fully supported. You get built-in streaming for Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, Qbuzz Connect, Qobuzz, whatever, Amazon Music, Deezer, and Internet Radio. I like how Internet Radio is that's just the name of it.
It is.
Feels like it's somebody really phoned that one in. Apple Music seems to be missing, but you do get AirPlay support along with Google Chromecast, Roon Ready, and Bluetooth, of course. The wire connections all support up to 192 kilohertz 24-bit audio signals. The streaming network connection can technically go up to 384 kilohertz 24-bit. If you rely on the wireless connection option between the left and right speakers, that gets resampled down to 96 kilohertz 24-bit. So to preserve the full 192 kilohertz signals, you want to use that optional Ethernet connection between the pair of speakers. And that is not why I'm connecting the 2 speakers together.
Right.
I'm doing it because I'm worried about latency more than anything else. Not this, not that. And you're not hearing that. Each speaker weighs about 22 pounds, and they are rear ported with an entire back panel acting as cooling fins for that Class AB amp inside. Not necessary. It's like a watt at any given time.
It could be also 100.
You also get a little rubber base since the entire speaker cabinet is so rounded that it can't remain upright on its own.
No flat bottoms here.
At a distance of 1 meter, KEF specs the LX LUXE speakers to output about up to 110 dB with a -3 extension down to 42 hertz. They're available now.
Yep.
They're $4,000.
They're
for a speaker
$4,000
that needs
for
a
the pair.
bass, or it's going to roll off.
And it is just a 6.5-inch driver. I'm thinking you want to add a sub or two to those. So
I thought that is that bass not connected? That bass has got to be connected. It's
no,
not connected.
The rubber bass is not physically connected. You can lift up the speaker and the rubber bass stays where it is.
That's insane.
I mean, I'm kind of glad it's providing some damping.
Well, if you look at the rubber bass, though, if you look at the website, can you just stop? It does look like it screws on, though.
Maybe, I don't know.
There's like two holes.
There's
in
little
there.
pegs. There's little pegs on the bottom of that bass, but I don't know if it actually screws in.
Anyways, that's it.
I'm probably not going to buy them to find out.
Probably not.
Probably.
Comments from our listener, Gurinder. Despite the price just going up significantly, he went ahead and bought a new Apple TV 4K with 128 gigabytes of storage. Gigabytes. He's gotten sick of using Amazon Fire TV sticks, and somehow those Fire TV sticks seem to manage to disappear and go for a walk somewhere on their own. Sounds like a child problem, Gurinder. So he's hoping if he plugs in the new Apple TV 4K into the rear HDMI port instead of the side HDMI port, and he basically hides it behind all of the equipment, he'll have a better and more permanent streaming solution that doesn't cause him so many headaches. Maybe that will ease the pain of paying the new higher price somewhat. Yeah, plus, if you hide the remote, the kids will never figure out. Well, maybe they will. Can you use your iPhone to control the Apple TV 4K natively?
Sure
or do you... Oh, well, that's a problem.
Yeah, you can also use the
Step
the
one,
Find
get
My
all your
to-
kids Samsung phones.
Right. But you
Step
can use
two.
you can use the Find My app to make the Apple TV 4K remote chirp, because you're going to need it. That thing disappears into the couch cushions very readily and very easily, and you do sometimes need to make it chirp to find where it slid.
Bill sent us in an email. He said that's reminded us that in case we didn't notice, the addition to the Accessories for Less website. It appears they are preparing to start offering refurbished WiiM products, W-I-I-M products, at what appear to be decent discounts. At the moment, they're all listed as Notify Me, so the prices might just be placeholders, but they seem pretty specific, so Bill is excited that there might be fully authorized way to get WiiM products at lower prices in the future. So there you go.
Yeah.
If you're looking for WiiM,
Keep that in mind. If you're looking for a WiiM product, then double check Accessories for Less before you click buy.
Martin just wanted to thank us for our in-depth discussions about him potentially swapping out his XTZ speakers for Clips Reference Premiere 2 series speakers. Just wanted to clarify a couple of things. And we have a picture, maybe on YouTube, but definitely on the Flickr album.
That's right.
Of his setup, so you can be reminded if you don't remember from last week, because I certainly didn't.
Yeah.
He'd start with just the front three and likely not replace all 11 speakers in the setup. So that might make those whole in-home audition ideas that much easier. He wanted to say that his upward firing Atmos modules, which we seem to automatically recoil at last week, he's talking about me, actually work very well in his setup. He read in Dolby's own Atmos for the Home white paper how they actually suggest the upward firing solutions for rooms with lower ceiling heights and how it can sometimes sound better than speakers actually installed in the ceiling when the ceiling height is low. Listen, I should have more clearly stated what my issue was with that to begin with, because I have no problems with upward firing modules. I think that they can work. And in fact, I wrote an article about it, and I'll link it up in our show notes. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, we'll see. But it might not be on YouTube. But the thing that I was, I'm getting there, Rob. Stop it.
Yeah, I'm
Stop
reminding
typing.
myself in case you don't put it in there.
I'm putting it in there right now. There you go. Somehow I bolded it too. So, so the problem the thing I was recoiling, as your words, I would say reacting to, was the actual placement of them. So the thing about Dolby Atmos modules is that you are correct; they can work better and sound better than the speakers that are in the ceiling or on the walls, placed up high, as some people do. The problem with Atmos modules is that...
Whoa, we're cutting out. Is that just your mic or is that your connection? Something got lost.
Hold on a second here. No, it says I'm here. I don't know what to
All
tell
right. Yeah. You finished off at the problem with. That's where I lost you.
Okay. I'll just get my hand off of this. So we seem to be having an issue with this. Maybe this cable here. I must get a different cable. So the problem with Atmos modules is not that I think that they don't work. The problem is that we have always seen them placed as you have placed them, which is on top of a speaker. And that's like the same problem we have with subwoofers. We always see subwoofers placed at the front of the room because that's the easiest place to take pictures of them when you show two of them. And for many people, those upward Atmos modules are either integrated into their speaker already, which KEF does, and other KEF and Klipsch
has that too. Yep, and
some other ones as well.
DefTech.
But if not, people often place them on top of there. That was what I was referring to. So I didn't get into it because it wasn't part of your question. But the reason I was reacting to that is because, as the article that I am linking up will explain to you, the way that these things works has everything to do with their distance from your ears and how the bounce works on your ceiling and a bunch of other factors. So if it just so happens that placing them on top of your speakers gives you the best performance, that is purely luck. That you are a lucky person. Most of the time, placing upward firing Atmos modules should be a separate placement. It should be a thing that you consider separately from where you placed your surround or your backs or your front speakers. So that's what I was reacting to. So I have no problems with upwards firing modules. I think that they can be a great solution in a lot of situations. Especially, I think this is in the basement. I don't remember, but integrating ceiling speakers in a basement, I just don't even know how you run wires to things if you wanted them to be installed in the ceilings. Like, I'm sure it's doable by somebody.
Oh, yes.
I'm just not that guy. So that's what I was reacting to. So I apologize for not explaining that last week.
Yeah, no, back in the day when Atmos and Atmos modules was all kind of new, I did a fair amount of in-person listening. I'm not saying that everything was in my own personal home theater, so taking a grain of salt with some of being showroom demos and that. But I definitely was able to detect and hear differences between different designs of upward firing modules. My personal conclusion at the time was that PSB's upward firing modules were pretty much the only ones that actually looked like Dolby's own diagrams of their design for an upward firing module. Seems like PSB was pretty darn close to the only ones who followed that design document exactly, but I thought theirs were the best. I thought Klipsch's were the second best at the time. The original ones aren't even available anymore because they've gone through different series since that time, but there were certainly differences to be had. Today, though, as we're talking about Atmos, I'm not going to say that there's no perceptible difference. I still believe that there is a perceptible difference between upward firing modules like amongst the various ones that are out there, as well as the other ways to get those overhead effects. But I'm just at the point now where cost-benefit ratio-wise, I feel that the Dolby Atmos height virtualization that just uses your floor level speakers and has no physical upward firing or physical overhead or physical height speakers whatsoever, just virtualizes it all, which, by the way, didn't exist when Atmos first came out. Dolby Atmos height virtualization is a processing technology that got added to AV receivers later on. It was like 2-3 years into Atmos being available at home that virtualization started being a thing. But I'm at the point now where I think the cost-benefit ratio is like, I'm either going to do that, I'm going to do the virtualization and save a pile of money on not buying and installing any additional physical speakers, or I'm going to go whole hog and have speakers physically above me and firing down at me, whether that's on ceiling or in ceiling. So I've stratified myself to those two extreme ends of the spectrum there, but I do agree that there are differences to be heard amongst upward firing modules. So there you go. If it works for you, that is what matters, and I'm glad you're happy with it. Yeah,
and that's kind of where I was going for there. Yeah. It's hard to. Especially when you see so many images of speakers placed in a certain way, it's hard to get it out of your mind that that's how they should be placed. And too often, there's just, I can't tell you how many bicycle advertisements I've seen that are the forks are on backwards. Happens. We're just looking like, who put this bike together? Like it's backwards. So what is this? So it was strange. So there you go. Anyways, Karl has been fortunate enough to see the Odyssey in both IMAX 70mm film and IMAX GT, which is their grand theater, with the full 1.43 to 1 aspect ratio screen heights, and which is he's talking about the grand theater here, to which it's the same size as the IMAX 70mm frame. Well, not same size, but same aspect ratio. But the Grand Theater has a dual laser projector and a digital projection, plus a 12-speaker channel sound system. So he'd like to give the very slight edge to the IMAX GT presentation. It was brighter, and the black levels were deeper, and the theater itself was newer and felt a bit more high-end. And the sound, even though it's still a 5.1 mix because Nolan... it was slightly superior in his opinion, but the 70mm film presentation still had a bit of an edge for how completely smooth and high resolution it looked. Since Karl and his wife like to sit so close, the complete lack of any pixels whatsoever with film still holds an edge there. So there you go. That's one person's opinion.
Yes, I appreciate that take, though. And yes, Karl did mention that when they went to the IMAX Grand Theater, given the enormous size of the screen that they are using, even Karl and his wife did not sit in the front row, which is quite often their preference at regular movie theaters, is to sit all the way up in the front row. At the IMAX Grand Theater, they chose to sit in the 4th row. My goodness, so far back for Karl and his wife. The 4th row of an IMAX Grand Theater.
That's insane. All right. Let's get to these questions here. Stefan in Belgium. Oh, crap. I remember not to touch that. This is continued from last week because we started him and then we didn't finish him because I wanted to go. Stefan just wanted to share the results of some of our previous advice to him and maybe get our thoughts on the modification he made. His room size is about 5,000 cubic feet, but he wanted physically compact subwoofers at a somewhat reasonable price, so he landed on getting himself a pair of SVS SB3000 subs, the previous models, not the newest, and the more expensive 3000 Revolution ones. So he's really happy with them. He put them in diagonally opposite corners and compared compared to his old NHT Pro B20 subs, they play so much louder and lower, and they really hit the sweet spot in terms of being sizable enough that they feel like serious pieces of equipment, but still compact enough that they don't dominate the room visually. Money well spent.
Hooray!
He also got the Rui Pro fiber optic HDMI cable with the detachable ends that we recommended to him, and it's been great. Completely trouble-free, and for a long in-wall HDMI cable run, they're practically foolproof. The build quality is excellent, and with the data center style fiber optic cable inside the wall, you can just pop on whatever HDMI plug you need on either end. So another great purchase.
Hooray!
Lastly, he bought the locking banana plugs we recommended because he's always had what seems to be an annual problem of some speaker wires coming loose. Inside the barrel of the banana plugs, it uses a pair of tiny screws to secure the speaker wire. He didn't want any of that ever coming loose, so not only did he secure the screws with Loctite, but he also went ahead and soldered the wire to the plugs. Those aren't going anywhere. First of all, that's way too much Loctite. I'm going to let you know. I work with Loctite all the time. You literally mean as little as possible, and it works. And the blue Loctite, which is what it looks like he used, it secures it pretty well, but it allows you to back it back out. Now that you've soldered it, however, I feel like maybe that was...
that's not going anywhere.
I don't think it's going anywhere.
No.
So he didn't love the way they looked at first, so we added some heat shrink tubing, and that tidied up the appearance nicely. Except he didn't shrink the heat shrink.
I mean, I'm sure that's just a photo he took before he applied the heat gun to it.
I mean,
maybe
they're all plugged in.
They are.
So they unplug them and then shrink
Possibly.
it afterwards.
I don't know. I got the photos I've got, Tom.
It's a saying. I think you missed 50%. Anyways, maybe that's just the way it looks. I don't know. Maybe it's fancy. But then he discovered what might have been the issue all along. For whatever reason, the binding posts on the back of his Arkham amplifier don't seem to have the same socket diameter from end to end inside the binding post. They seem to be narrower at the front where the banana plugs first go in, then wider at the back on the inside. So even with the expanding locking banana plugs, they still don't grip and lock tightly with the banana plugs inserted all the way. but he managed to solve it. He cut some 3 millimeter lengths of clear aquarium tubing and used those as spacers on the banana plug ends before inserting them into the amplifier. Boy, am I not understanding this. And now the expanding ends of the locking banana plugs press firmly against the inside of the binding post and hold extremely securely. They feel rock solid, and he doesn't think they'll ever come loose unless he manually unscrews them. So what do we think of this mod? What? Where is... What?
Yes. So if you're looking at the final photo there, there's these little clear spacers, right? So rather than the barrel of the banana plug itself inserting all the way in as deeply as it can into the binding post, he's put in this little bit of a spacer so that they're backed out a little ways. Those locking banana plugs, they splay at the ends.
Yeah.
When you tighten them down, they splay. So they're still the same diameter right up at the what end would you say? The closest to the wire, the end that's closest to the wire itself, that's still the same diameter. They splay out and get wider at the tips of the banana plugs inside. Well, within the binding posts of his RCam AV receiver, it seems like they really only have the narrow diameter at the front. That's where they grip. So he's like, so I need to back out the locking banana plugs a bit, and then that way when they splay, they'll actually go against the narrower end inside. But if you don't have those spacers, they just work their way in deeper and still rattle around and come a little bit loose. So yeah, he created his own spacers. Good on you, I say.
I mean, obviously it works. I see what you're talking about now. If the end of the binding post is the part that it splays open, it expands.
Yeah.
But inside of the connector, it's wider inside there.
That's
it can't
right.
expand enough to get it. Now, it shouldn't pull all the way out, but it might rattle around in there a little bit. So.
And also, like regular banana plugs, like they bulge in the middle of the banana plug.
Yeah.
So honestly, RCam, what are you doing? Are you not familiar with every banana plug in the world? Why would you choose binding posts that are designed this way on the inside? That's an RCam problem. That's not a you problem. It's kind of weird that that's the binding post they use. Maybe they're intending for you to use bare wire or spades. I don't know. Seems very strange to have a banana plug insert that works that way. But good on you for figuring it out and coming up with a solution that doesn't cost a pile of money. Well done.
There you go. And now we can add in Stefan's latest email. So he already went ahead and purchased the Samsung HWB750F soundbar that we recommended for his daughter last week. The price and size seemed just right. He's curious to find out what his daughter thinks of it. In his own setup, his 10-year-old Arkham AVR 850 receiver has suffered some sort of internal damage. You could smell what seemed like burnt electronics, and there was a DC error message on the front display. That sounds bad. He has reached out to the company that imports Arkham products into Belgium, that imports them from Belgium?
No, into Belgium. That's where he lives.
Oh, he lives in Belgium. That's right. Trying to figure out if a repair is possible and affordable, but given the age of his receiver, he's thinking it might be time to go for an upgrade. So again, he's dealing with around 5,000 cubic feet of air volume. He's got his pair of SVS SB3000 subs, of course, and he's currently using 7 B&W XT series speakers. He's thinking like to upgrade to a 7.2.4 Atmos configuration, and he is willing to add some external amplification to do that if necessary. He says he never listens at full reference volume, and all he really needs is 3 HDMI inputs. He's really happy with the Arkham receiver sound quality, so whatever he gets, he wants it to at least match the sound quality that he had before. He's looking for a bang for buck approach, but willing to spend decent money to get everything that he wants, and he would like to benefit from modern room correction and processing capabilities. So which model of AV receiver would we recommend for him? Do we have a picture of his setup? We don't.
No, we don't. No, I don't have all of the...
We know this is an enclosed room. We know that? Or...
I mean, he was fairly specific on the dimensions, but I don't know for sure. There might be an opening to something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, okay. So he clearly at this point does not have external amplification because he didn't mention it. And he's just running everything off the Arkham receivers. And that I guess at some point he's...
Well, he was running 7 speakers. So he's like, if I'm going to do this upgrade, then that opens up the possibility of Atmos. And if it opens up the possibility of Atmos, I'd rather have 4 overhead speakers. So you end up at 11 speakers very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. So if these have, if the Arkham's been running his speakers, the 7 floor level speakers, which are honestly the ones we're worried about. The front 3 speakers are the ones that are the farthest away from you usually. If those 3 are getting loud enough for you to enjoy everything, then I wouldn't think another receiver that we might recommend would have a problem doing the same thing. As far as sound quality wise, if the Arkham is not EQing things for whatever reason, then any of the receivers that we recommend are going to be able to sound just as good.
I mean, if you want to see a flat line on a measurement graph and you want signal in to equal signal out but louder, the AV receivers we recommend are going to do that for you unless you want to go crazy with the room correction, manually changing the target curve. Then you can make it something very much other than a flat line. But just in terms of the DACs, in terms of the inherent amplifiers, what they do is it's a ruler flat line. So there's really no worries about signal quality. Let's
just pretend, like I don't know what this Arkham quote unquote sounds like or what you've been experiencing. So it's very hard. Like whenever we do research in psychology or whatever, the key is to change one variable at a time. Sure. And you do this if you're diagnosing anything. You want to change one variable at a time. So right now you're talking about changing many. You're going to get a new receiver. You're going to add more speakers, in theory. You're going to add room correction or a different room correction at the very least. So when you put all these things together, at the end, are you going to be like, I want to have just as good of sound quality, if not better? I'm like, ugh. Well, I don't know what you're currently experiencing, and that what you're going to experience will be different. I can't believe it won't be. Will you consider that to be better? Most of the time, people, when you switch from one thing to another, they're like, well, that sounds different. I don't like it. Not always, especially if it involves extra bass, but usually that's kind of the initial reaction. So let's just agree that what you'll experience will be different. And I think it will either be better or you will be able to make it sound the way you want it to sound through whatever.
A little bit of it
room correction apps.
Are you the type of person who, like, he seems very willing to run room correction, but are you the type of person who's going to run it at its default and just judge it based on that and be like, okay, that's the default result that I got? Or are you the person who's going to really go crazy and spend way more time than you need to and go absolutely overboard with room correction and manual changes? Or are you going to land somewhere in between and spend some time to, if you're like, by default, it doesn't quite sound exactly the way I want it to sound, but I'm aware that I can make some manual changes and probably get it there. It might take some trial and error, might take some time. So it does depend a little bit on you as a user, what type of time and effort you want and are willing to put into it. But in terms of recommending you an AV receiver that has the ability to go to 11 speakers at some point, whether that's adding an external amplifier or not. I am just going off of what I quickly looked up on the Belgian version of Amazon, because that's the most easily and readily available. And I was thinking in my mind, you might be someone who might end up leaning towards the modern Onkyo AV receivers, because those come with Dirac included. You don't have to pay extra to have Dirac Live room correction. You do have to pay an extra fee to upgrade them to Dirac Live bass control. And they have a model, which is the one I would recommend to you if you were going with Onkyo, that actually does include 11 amplifiers built in, but it has a full set of pre-outs on the back. So it's your choice whether you want to add external amplifiers or not. It wouldn't actually be a necessity. And in North America, that Onkyo receiver, which I'm going to bring up on screen now, is the TX-RZ70, is a very good deal. You can find it at a very attractive price in North America, but it's currently listed on the Belgian version of Amazon anyway for €3,000, and that is not a cheap amount of money. They do have the RZ50 in the Onkyo lineup, which costs less and has 9 amplifiers built in, but can expand to 11 speakers. You have to add at least 2 channels of external amplification to the RZ50, but the RZ50, even though technically you can upgrade it to Dirac Live bass control, it only has a mono subwoofer output, whereas the RZ70 actually has independent subwoofer outputs. So if you were ever going to upgrade, you're going to have 2 subs. We know that. If you were ever going to do the Dirac Live bass control, I would want to have the RZ70 if I were going with Onkyo. So I was like, okay, clearly the equivalent to capability-wise, in the Denon lineup would be the brand new X3900H, and you know what? It's $1,500. It is half the price from the Belgian version of Amazon, anyway, which is not the way it is in North America. Those price points are not exactly reversed, but the Onco is often less expensive than the Denon in North America. For whatever reason, over in Belgium, the Denon is considerably the better deal. Now, with the X3900H, you would have to add at least 2 channels of external amplification to go all the way to 11 speakers. It processes 11, but has 9 channels of amplification built in. But with $1,500 extra in your budget, you can definitely afford to get at least a 2-channel external amplifier. And then this comes with Odyssey Multi-Q XT32 built in out of the box, and you can pay to upgrade all the way to Dirac Live Art if you want to. Art is not available on that Onkyo RZ70. It is an optional availability on the Denon X3900H if you want it. Also, it has the 4 independent subwoofer outputs on the X3900H, so if you ever wanted to add even more subs, or if you wanted a dedicated tactile transducer output, it has all those capabilities, which the Onkyo RZ70 doesn't have. So I'm leaning pretty strongly towards Denon, but not only that. We've talked about the X3900H before and how it is barely any change over the older X3800H, and the X3800H is still available for €1,170. And my goodness, have we brought the price point down. And honestly, I can't point you to anything else besides the X3800H from Denon. It is by far the best deal monetarily. It has all the features you could want. And then, yes, if you want to upgrade some of its features, if you want to go over to Dirac instead of Odyssey, if you want to expand to 11 speakers at some point, you're going to need at least 2 channels of external amplification. But given the money you're saving up front, if you were even considering that you might pay as much as €3,000, then you've got the money to spare in the budget to upgrade that X3800H as much as you want to. So that's the one I say you should get.
I am in full agreement.
Yeah.
Steve appreciated our advice and ideas to further improve his setup in his sunken den that is half a floor lower than the foyer that is open on the right side of the area.
Yeah, right side of the den.
Yeah. So we have some pictures, so Flickr album or wherever. We suggested replacing the second small TV that's mounted in the left corner and the movie poster on the right with bass trap panels. He's going to have to nix both of those ideas. Second TV is a must, he says, though they are sports enthusiasts and they frequently have both TVs going. It's not the way his first email sounded. He just said ignore that TV.
Yeah.
Which made me think it wasn't doing anything. Anyways, he rotates the poster to the right, so being stuck with a single printed image on the panel would be a bummer.
He changes the poster.
Oh,
he's like,
he changes the poster.
Yeah, I don't just want one poster forever and ever. He changes the poster.
When he said rotates, I thought he meant like he rotated it 90 degrees. I was like, what? Okay. Physically rotate, not rotate the image that's inside of it. But what about some additional panels lower down on the front wall? Would there be any benefit to having an acoustic panel behind each of the front tower speakers? And what about potentially yes, there would be. And what about potentially adding more panels to the left wall, the brick wall? He was actually mainly thinking about having a panel right behind his left surround speaker. Unless he just have a thick velvet cover that he sometimes puts over his glass coffee table for more serious viewing sessions. With a velvet cover like that placed over the second TV in the corner while watching movies be of any benefit. The thick velvet cover wasn't a benefit to begin with, and it's not going to be any more of a benefit. Panels, yes.
Yes.
And wherever you can place them, also yes.
Yes. But directly behind speakers is a great place for panels.
It's a good place to put them,
I will just say, often people find it very tempting to go for rather thin panels when they put it directly behind speakers. Don't do that. You're defeating yourself. The real goal of a panel behind a speaker is to mitigate that SBIR, the speaker boundary interference.
Right.
That's really one of the goals that you're doing there. So in order to do that, the panel has to be thick enough to be effective at the sort of frequencies that you're dealing with on that the wall directly behind the speaker is reflecting. That actually changes depending on how close the speaker is to the wall. And yours look like they're fairly close to the wall. They don't look like they're pulled way out from the wall, at least in the photos that you sent in. That's actually a good thing. when the speaker is physically pushed back a little bit closer to the wall, it means that boundary reinforcement frequency is a higher frequency, a frequency that, say, a 4 or 6 inch thick panel can actually address. When you pull the speaker farther out, that rear boundary reinforcement off of the wall behind the speaker drops down to a lower frequency where you start needing like 8, 10, 12 inch thick panels, and that starts to become a little bit unwieldy to put on your wall. So keep your speakers pushed fairly far back, but put at least a 4-inch thick panel there. Don't just put a 2-inch thick panel, because that won't really do very much for you. So put at least a 4-inch thick panel, and then the speaker, if there's ports on the back of those speakers, like 1 inch of clearance is all you need when what's directly behind it is a 4-inch thick panel. So we're not worried about there being clearance between the new acoustic panel and the rear port of the speaker. That can be like 1 inch is all you need.
You'll find that I have linked up an AV Gadgets article written by Andrew called Determining the Perfect Distance of Speakers from Walls that talks about SBIR.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good, if you're like, what SBIR, what is that? It's in there.
But yes, given that there's more space to the right of this whole setup than there is to the left, then panels on that brick wall, great idea. Add some more. Yes. Not just the one that's all by itself doing its darn best, but it's all by itself, the poor thing.
I am a little concerned about putting them directly below that mini split.
Okay.
I would be a little bit concerned about that simply because people don't clean their mini splits as much as they should, and sometimes the drains get clogged and then they leak, and it's going to leak on top of the panel and that sort of thing. So if you do that, just think about it. Okay. I guess be careful. We mentioned how it might be acoustically nice to have some panels up on the ceiling, but as we pointed out, it's already a slightly lower ceiling height, and putting panels up there would look and feel awkward. But they might actually be looking to do some ceiling repairs in this den. Over on the right side of the den, the ceiling has some cracks from the house settling, and the notion of doing a ceiling replacement / renovation is under consideration. If they were to take down the existing drywall, what might we suggest to put in its place that could act as an acoustic enhancement instead of just regular drywall?
It's a little tricky.
I don't know that I have So what you need is think of, okay, well, what can I put up there that's basically an acoustic panel, which is what you're kind of asking for, which would be that you would leave, I imagine there's joists up there. You would leave those open and then fill them with insulation, then put acoustic fabric across your ceiling rather than drywall.
Which obviously gives you no sound blockage at all to whatever is above this den. Above.
Yes.
And I'm guessing there is something above this den.
Even if there's not, it's going to go directly into the attic and then bounce around in there and come back out of a bunch of rooms. So this would be problematic no matter what.
And then the alternative is to put in a T-bar ceiling, a drop tile ceiling, because you can absolutely get acoustic ceiling tiles that are designed to absorb and block. You can get ones that actually do a pretty decent job, almost equivalent to a layer of drywall. It's obviously a little bit of sound is getting through, but it's not like a big downgrade in terms of blocking some sound. And they're basically 2-inch thick, typically fiberglass, with the front facing, the part that you actually see on your ceiling, being whatever design that you want. And then on the back of them, they have like a membrane layer, which is acting as the soundproofing layer. And those actually kind of overlap on top of each other that you don't see up above that T-bar ceiling, but they are necessarily kind of thick, kind of heavy. You often need a particular T-bar system that can contend with their extra weight, because they're definitely not just the very thin drop tile ceilings that we're kind of used to. So there's a lot more expense to that. The T-bars might have to be beefed up, and then you're losing some additional ceiling height, which is already on the lower side. That's why I'm like, this one to me isn't super cut and dry. I'm not like gung-ho about necessarily wanting to do this, because I'm just like, all things considered, myself, if this were my room, I'd probably just end up putting a drywall ceiling back up there, like all things considered. What though? If you want to put some inexpensive, fluffy fill insulation into the cavity when you drop the ceiling, it's not really going to help the acoustics inside of this space, but it's basically never a bad idea to have those cavities filled with insulation. There's a little bit of benefit to doing that if the ceiling's coming down anyway. But yeah, I'm hesitant to say, fabric, it might help. I mean, it would act as an acoustic absorber within the den, but I'm worried about whatever is above the den for soundproofing purposes. And then the drop tile ceiling, it's like it's quite a bit of additional expense, and you're losing some ceiling height to do it. So yeah, that's where I land.
Yeah, yeah. If it were higher ceiling, I would say install a drop tile ceiling, but it's not a higher ceiling. I just don't see that there's anything you can really do. I do like. I mean, I would also agree that just putting insulation up there is good for sound transmission to a certain extent. It's not going to hurt anything, and it's just. I mean, a lot of times they won't put any insulation in there unless you tell them to. Definitely. Because it's an internal wall thing. And it's really not much cost.
Again, it's the fluffy white stuff that's supposed to go above garages. It, acoustically speaking, works perfectly fine.
Yeah. So Rob sort of mentioned that in passing, depending on which bass shakers he already has installed in his couch, you might consider doing an upgrade to Buttkickers. This would probably be low on the priority list as the center seat of the couch rarely gets used, but he currently has a pair of Dayton Audio BST1 High Power Pro bass shakers installed with a Fosse MO3 M03, I don't know, amp powering them. If he were to do a tactile transducer upgrade, what would we suggest? Well, he already suggested it. He suggested the Buttkicker. So there you go.
But specifically, we can get specific about that. Now, I'm going to answer the question, and I'm going to answer it specifically. I'm also going to say, I don't think you should spend your money on it. Given the ones that you have.
While you're answering that, I'm going to go get some more coffee.
Yeah, given the ones that you have, this would be a minimal, a very minimal upgrade. I might still technically consider it an upgrade, but I don't really think the juice is worth the squeeze on this one. But yes, in your situation, the one I would suggest is the Buttkicker Advance. Those go for $200 a piece. So yeah, it is not particularly cheap, but yeah, you mentioned potentially putting them in some of the individual seats that are to the left and right of the couch, and then across the couch itself, which yes, there is the Buttkicker LFE. That is the largest full-sized one that I personally prefer for most couches, but given the design of everything here, the Buttkicker Advance is the one that will probably make the most sense, and it does perform very nicely. To power a Buttkicker Advance, if you want to max it out, you can power two of the Buttkicker Advance off of a Dayton Audio SA1000 amplifier. That is the amplifier I'm going to recommend. Regardless, it goes for $560, which is actually pretty reasonable for its kilowatt that it can output into a 4-ohm load. But you can actually run 4 Buttkicker Advance off of this without too much problem. A combination of series parallel wiring, so a pair of Buttkicker Advance wired together in series, 2 of those, and the 2 pairs wired in parallel with one another is a load that the SA1000 can handle. It won't be able to maximize the output of all 4 of those Buttkicker Advances wired like that, but it can run safely in that configuration if you want to get away with a single amplifier with all 4 Buttkicker Advances. But like I said, all of that said, I don't think this is the upgrade that you should do.
No, I don't think so either. Nick. Previously, Nick got our advice for the best signal path when connecting his PS5 Pro to his Den X3600H receiver and the LG C9 OLED TV. Now he has added a Nintendo Switch 2, and it was considerably easier figuring out what should plug into what after his PS5 Pro experience. Mm-hmm. But there's one little annoyance with all of his other source devices. Both the Denon and the LG automatically detected the source device and changed their labels on the HDMI inputs to match, but not the Switch 2. Is that true?
Yeah.
Mine doesn't do that.
I mean, like Apple TV 4K definitely will do that. You bring up your input list on your LG, and it'll say Apple TV, and on your Denon front display, instead of just cable SAT or whatever or media player. And the modern game consoles do that. But yes, not the Switch 2. Not the Switch 2.
All right. Okay, let's switch to. He tried double checking that HDMI CEC is turned on for the Switch 2 and the LG OLED and the Denon and in the Denon 3600H, but the TV and receiver still just show the default names for the HDMI inputs, not Switch 2. Mm-hmm. He was able to find a way to make his LG OLED say game console instead of just HDMI 4, but he was hoping that there's a better way to do that. Well, in the Denon, I know that you can just rename things.
You can.
I don't know about the LG though.
Yes, both. And this is not some gosh, couldn't you figure that out? Because it's kind of buried. It's kind of buried in the settings, how you manually change those input names. So on the Denon, you click that setup button on your remote and you go to the inputs, right? Yeah, that's where you find it. Because within the setup of the Denon, there's a thing called HDMI. So if you look there, you're like, well, why can't I change the labels of the names of my HDMI ports? It's because there's a different section called inputs. And within the inputs portion, there is a source rename. And it isn't tied to the HDMI ports. It is tied to the default labels, which are like that cable SAT and Blu-ray and media player and CD. It has those default names for the various inputs, and those various input names, you can assign whatever HDMI port to whatever default input name, and you can assign your digital coax and your optical ports. And back when we still had analog connections, you could assign those to those default input names. So what you're changing is the default input name manually, and that's why it's under the input section and the source rename rather than the HDMI section where you were almost certainly looking before. So you can manually change those default names. If you've got it plugged into the game port right now, then you can manually change that to say switch 2, and that will work on the Denon. On the LG, there is a way to manually change that name, but I absolutely can figure out how you wound up changing it to game console and then got no further than that because it's not intuitive. So it means you managed to find the LG Home Hub, which, depending on which version of WebOS you're using, how you get there, I don't know, but that's what you're looking for is the LG Home Hub. Yeah, if on the most current interface, it's right there front and center to get the Home Hub, but you have an LG C9, and I don't know how far that got upgraded as far as WebOS interfaces, but you want to get to the LG Home Hub. And then you don't click on any of the HDMI inputs within the LG Home Hub. You have to go up to the right corner, up in the top right corner, and there's the 3 dots menu to give you the more options there. And under the 3 dots menu, you can find edit inputs. And it sounds like you found that because when you get to edit inputs, you can highlight each of your 4 HDMI ports, you can click on it, and you can change the icon which comes along with a name. So you change it to a thing that looks like a little game console, and it says game console, and it sounds like he got that far, and he's like, but I want it to say Switch 2, not game console. Well, right. After you change the icon, and you have to change the icon. If you leave it at the default HDMI port icon, there's no way to rename it. But if you change the icon, which it sounds like you did, because you got it to say game console, but after you change the icon, you can then move the cursor over to where it says game console, and you can click on that, and then you can give it up to 16 characters that you type manually using the stupid Wii pointer remote thingy that the LG has. So there is a way to do it, but I don't think you're like ignorant for not having intuitively figured out how to get to this stuff. And for anyone who was like, gosh, that sounds like something you can just Google, good luck. But yes, it can be done. You can manually change the name. And yes, I wish the Switch 2 would just have the HDMI CEC hooks to do it automatically like other modern devices, but it's Nintendo and they don't care about HDMI CEC, and that's the way it is.
Exciting. Nick is still trying to figure out ways to improve the sound isolation for his bedrooms on the cheap. He has gone ahead and made the door sweeps to close off the gaps below the bedroom doors, and he's putting putty pads to all the electrical outlets since we said to do the cheap and easy stuff first. He's going to take our advice and wait until their planned carpet replacement coming up to do further and more extensive renovations. Since all of the furniture will be removed for the carpet replacement anyways, that will be the time to open up or take down any drywall and do further upgrades. So he's just thinking, he's trying to think and plan ahead for right now. As part of this, there's multiple steps here. So let's step 1 here. He's still thinking that when the carpet is pulled up, he'll just lay down some mass-loaded vinyl on the floor himself before. Oh, they're going to hate you. Before the floor on the floor himself before the carpet installers put in the new carpet. Do we foresee any actual issues with doing that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so many.
Yes.
The carpet installer is going to be like, they're going to show up and they look down and they go, well, we'll come back when all that crap is gone and leave. That's just...
And also, mass-loaded rolls of mass-loaded vinyl is not what I would choose to put down on the floor. There can be moisture issues. I wouldn't choose to do that. So there is the proper sound deadening underlay, which talk to your carpet installers first, because they might say, oh, that's going to be your replacement for the regular carpet pad, or if this is in addition to the carpet pad, that's going to change where we need to put down our tackless strip, which is always the ironic name because a tackless strip is a strip full of tacks. So I'm not sure why the proper name for it is a tackless strip, but that's what it is. But it might change.
Same way with clipless pedals,
Right.
or the pedals you clip into.
Yes.
So don't get me started with that nonsense.
That might change where they need to install that. So talk to your carpet installers first. Tell them this is something you want to do. They have almost certainly dealt with different underlayments underneath carpet before, and the idea of putting down what it is it's typically a rubber underlayment. We actually linked to it before over at ISO Store. They have their Genie mat, and that is the type of thing that you would want to put down there instead. So yeah, don't put down mass-loaded vinyl. Don't do it without telling your carpet installers that you're going to do it, because that's just going to be a problem. And yeah, that's the proper way to do it.
Yeah. Second, he's thinking he'll take down some drywall on the party walls. If the drywall is down, might as well install rock wool insulation in those open walls, right? And also rigid insulation around the air return ducts.
Yes and no.
I don't know why you would specifically want to have to put in rock wool insulation in those open walls when you can just put regular insulation in those open walls. I mean, I guess it doesn't fall as easily, would be the argument for that. But sure. Yes, I don't know what the insulation around the air ducts is supposed to
Yeah, we mentioned this before as well. Don't do rigid if what you want is soundproofing purposes. Get the softer, malleable, squishy one that then has the lining around it. Again, IsoStore has that stuff, and we know he's familiar with IsoStore. So yeah, you want the type of duct lining that is not rigid when we're talking about sound issues. The rigid foam board stuff is very easy to install and works well thermally, but it is not great for soundproofing purposes. So yeah, don't go rigid, but installing insulation while the drywall is down, absolutely yes, that makes sense.
Yes, I don't know why you need to go rigid. I guess that was my only concern there. 3, the bedroom walls are just regular half-inch drywall. He's thinking that if he takes down the drywall on the party walls, he could replace the 1/2-inch drywall with a layer of mass-loaded. Well, he loves this mass-loaded vinyl.
I know. Well, because if you look it up, you get told to put mass-loaded vinyl for soundproofing purposes. I don't blame him. Yeah.
And then a larger 5/8-inch drywall to improve the soundproofing. Any thoughts on that? Don't do that either.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I would just put if you're going to do all this, first of all, I wonder if instead of doing all the stuff you're talking about doing, just putting green glue and another layer of drywall on top of the current drywall that's currently on your wall and doing that.
That's what I said earlier.
Instead of taking the drywall down, putting in insulation, putting drywall back up, and then adding mass-loaded vinyl and all these other things. If you just did another layer of drywall with some green glue in between, I feel like that would be it would do all of this for a lot cheaper.
What's coming up in the fourth section is the reason that he rejected that idea first, because that was my first thing. I said, if you want effective soundproofing as cheaply as possible, then it's leaving what you have, but putting a layer of green glue and a second layer of drywall over the existing drywall. You're not taking anything down, but then, of course, you have to refinish and repaint all of the second layer drywall that you installed, but that's going to be happening anyway, yeah. Mass-loaded vinyl, it's not that it has no effect on soundproofing. It's just that was the older technology before green glue existed, basically, what was sort of the approach there. It is harder to work with. You have to tuck tape all the edges. It's just not my preferred way of soundproofing a room when you're actually going to have the drywall taken down. Put up 2 layers of drywall with a layer of green glue in between. That is what you are going to want to do. If you can sacrifice a little bit of additional floor space in addition to now having 2 layers of drywall, and honestly, 2 layers of 1/2-inch drywall is perfectly fine when you have the green glue in between them. But if you're willing to sacrifice just a little bit more, resilient channel, as long as that's installed properly, can be very effective. If you want one where it's a little bit less concerning about whether the installation is going to be correct or not, you can do the clips and hat channels, but that takes up quite a bit more depth. You're losing like a good 3 inches off of your walls when you install the clips and hat channels by the end of it. So that's, resilient channel can work as long as it's installed correctly. So, but if you were to just put up 2 layers of drywall onto the existing studs with green glue in between, that would be a very noticeable soundproofing improvement. And I would go that way rather than mass loaded vinyl and ever so slightly thicker drywall. That's not as effective as 2 layers of drywall with green glue in between. But now the problem.
So we really, really prefer not to have to touch the ceiling at all, or the door jambs and trim. So rather than taking down all of the drywall on the party walls, could he leave like 2 inches of the existing 1/2-inch drywall along the ceiling and around all, first of all, that would look so weird.
Wouldn't it?
And around all of the trim and door jambs, so he doesn't have to deal with all of that.
No.
No, I mean, that's like saying, I was going to make this pool and I've got it all lined, except I don't want to have to do the steps. So if I just don't do the steps, would that be okay? No, it's going to, you have to line the whole pool. You can't not. The water's going to get out. You're going to wash away whatever is down there. Is he planning on doing this drywall work himself?
It sure sounds like it, yes.
Because it sounds to me like, I mean, I'm just concerned.
I know, right?
That it sounds like you are planning on doing this yourself to save money, but maybe you don't. And forgive me if I'm wrong. Believe me, I only go with what I can read here. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like you're going to DIY this thing with minimal experience with drywall,
or at least soundproofing.
And if
drywall
that is the case. Then you should do none of this yourself, because all of these are this is all skilled labor, basically. Putting on green glue, an extra layer of drywall, taking down drywall and putting drywall back up and finishing drywall, and then also everything else that goes along with that, the trim and around the door jambs and stuff like that, it's not undoable. I'm not suggesting
Certainly
that
not.
in any way, shape, or form, but it's certainly not something you want to like.
Wing
I
it?
could probably do this just fine. Yes. I could watch a couple of YouTube videos and do it. As somebody like going from, and even in AV, I can tell you this is true too. I can watch an AV video that tells you how to position your speakers and get to the end of it. I could see how somebody could get to the end of this video, do everything that was on this video, and end up with a poor result because it by definition, it leaves out a lot of the nuance, and it leaves out the experience that person has with knowing that in this particular room, at this, in any specific room, you might have to make changes based on things like we were talking about the last guy, where he's got open on one side and a brick wall on the other. That's not going to be something that's going to be addressed in a general speaker placement room treatment video. It's not going to be addressed. So you would, it says to put, this many panels on this wall, and I don't have a wall on this side, so I can't do that. Maybe I'll put them way over there where the other wall is. It's like 30 feet away. My Lord, there are
sirens going by.
Like so many. I could see how that could happen. You could get to the end of a YouTube video. And the same thing here. We're talking about, this is a skilled installation. This is not a minor one. So I mean, I know you're trying to do it on the cheap. I understand that. And this, having a second layer of drywall with green glue put in between properly, it is on the cheap, even if you have a professional do it. You can do the painting. You can do maybe you do some of the mudding yourself or whatever. I don't know what you're super comfortable doing, but let's take a step back from this whole thing and say, wait a second. Now, how are you planning on getting this done? Because if you're going to do it yourself and you're not confident enough in working with drywall to figure out how to do around
or it
the
seems
ceiling,
particularly trim pieces is what he doesn't want to touch.
then have somebody else do it who is comfortable doing that.
The alternative is cutting some holes in the middle sections of the drywall, having proper insulation put into those party walls, and then just patching the drywall as it is, not trying to beef up the drywall at all. Like that is a thing you could do on the cheap that, like I've said before, it doesn't do nothing. It'll give you like 5 dB improvement. And
right.
You were mostly concerned about hearing other people's voices in the kitchen outside of the bedroom. It will help with the vocal range. It's not going to help you very much with the bass. It's not going to make it so that you can play your home theater in the basement at blistering levels late at night while someone's trying to sleep upstairs. But it'll make an improvement to the talking in the kitchen outside by about 5 dB, which is noticeable. That's like half as loud, subjectively speaking. So that would be the thing to do on the cheap. If you're going to beef up the walls, take down the trim, beef up the walls, put the trim back up. That's really the only way to do it.
Yeah. Yes. Let's see here. Leighton continues to tweak his acoustic panel setup. It was a very, very dry room before, with overall decay times near or below 100 milliseconds across the board. After liking the results when he actually removed some panels based on our advice, he's now going to measure and aim for a target of about 250 milliseconds to see how that sounds. He will report back later with the results. Yay. I mean, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for this experience that you're having. Having an audio memory, the memory of how something sounded, it'd have to be a very significant difference for you to go, this is amazing, amazing difference, or, a noticeable difference. So I'm currently switching between 2 bikes, and people ask me what's the difference between them. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I changed so many things.
I mean, at least it's not enough that I'm hating the new one.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yes. Yeah. Or you're faster on one than the other. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So in the meantime, he's got a signal path question. His TV is a Sony X90L, and his receiver is about the same age from about 3 or 4 years ago. He picked up the Sony X700 Ultra HD Blu-ray player, and he's got a PS4 they'd like to hook up. He wasn't sure whether he needs to plug those devices directly into the TV or if they can be plugged into their AV receiver. Why is he not telling us the receiver?
I mean, he did sometime long ago. I just didn't manage to go back through all the emails and find out what it was. So, yeah.
All right, anyways. Or if they can be plugged directly into the AV receiver. He's read about how plugging straight into the TV and using eARC might result in downgraded audio signals going back to the receiver. So what's the deal? How should those 2 sources be connected to a system? Now, since I don't know your receiver and I don't remember how the eARC, or if it even has eARC, the Sony, how that whole thing works. Generally speaking, from the standpoint of usability, video, audio quality, and everything else, all things being equal, if you can plug everything into your receiver and then your receiver up your TV, you can turn off HDMI, eARC or ARC or whatever, and ease of use becomes infinitely greater because you're not fighting with the HDMI or doing its thing, CEC doing its thing, and hoping that it's going to work correctly. Also, generally speaking, your receiver is very good at passing signals along, the video signal along up to the TV unaltered, and the TV is very good at displaying whatever it gets, and then it can upsample or do whatever it needs to do to the signal, if it's HD or standard definition, or if it's all those other things. So yes, all things being equal, plug everything in the receiver, go up to the TV. Where does that break down? If your receiver is so old that it can't do certain things,
yes, and
then you plug it into the TV and have the TV set it down, then yes, you might be dealing with an audio degradation based on that, but you get the best picture, and you probably aren't going to notice audio that much anyway. So yes.
Yeah, honestly, anybody can be forgiven. I just got an Ultra HD Blu-ray player. Does that mean I need an ultra high speed HDMI cable? Do those things go together? What is what needs to plug into what? So honestly, to break it down for you, the only source devices you really need to worry about are the currently newest video game sources of PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, or a high-end PC. Those are really the only ones you need to worry about, because an Apple TV 4K, an Ultra HD Blu-ray player, a PS4 or an Xbox One, any of those older devices, they top out at 4K resolution at 60 frames per second. And then they have HDR capabilities as well. But it's really only once you go beyond 60 frames per second that you start having to worry about ultra high speed HDMI cables with 40 or 48 gigabits per second, and any concerns beyond that. You're dealing with all stuff that HDMI 2.0 works perfectly fine. HDMI 2.1 is really all the beyond 60 frames per second stuff. And you don't have, most people don't have any sources where that honestly matters one iota. So yeah, we can break it down. It's like, unless you're dealing with a PS5, an Xbox Series X, or a high-end PC, you don't really have to worry about the HDMI side of things. Plug it into your AV receiver. That's going to be the easiest. Now, where the confusion over, can I plug this source into my TV and rely on HDMI eARC and not lose any audio signal quality, is a very valid concern, is that modern, like 2026 model TVs, there's a whole bunch of them, particularly from LG, but some other brands too, that they won't pass a DTS signal back through.
Yeah. And
you just got a X700 Ultra HD Blu-ray player. I'm assuming you're still going to play some regular Blu-rays on that from time to time, and most regular Blu-rays use DTS HD master audio rather than a Dolby signal. And it's like, oh, so I don't want to lose out on that, and that is a very valid concern, because a 2026 LG OLED won't pass through DTS HD master audio if you plug your Blu-ray player straight into the TV instead of the AV receiver. Now, in your case, the Sony X90L will pass every type of audio signal via eARC. That will work other than Oro 3D. Oh my goodness, you won't get your Oro 3D passing it through that way. So in your case, you can actually do it either way, but it is particular to the equipment that you're using. That actually does matter in terms of what eARC will work with on a particular model of television. So you have the freedom, Leighton. Whatever is most convenient for the length of HDMI cables that you have, you can plug it directly into your TV and use eARC, and that will work perfectly in your case. Or you can plug those devices into your AV receiver, and that will also work perfectly. So you're lucky, but they're very valid questions.
Yes, very. Infinite Gary. Gary watched Richting's LG C6 OLED review video on YouTube, and at one point they showed it side by side with a competing OLED TV model. Right away, Gary spotted somewhat sickly look of the flesh tones as they appeared on the C6 OLED in that side-by-side, as that is something that has been bugging him when he watches his own LG OLED TVs. So is this evidence that it's inherent to the way LG OLEDs handle flesh? No.
There are so many variables. So many variables.
Yeah, you're watching a video of a TV screen. Have you ever taken a picture of a TV screen and looked at it and gone, well, that's not what that looks like, because I'm in the room with it right now. You could do it this minute. You could do it right now.
Yeah.
So, I would, this is the same thing that happens when people demand, when you're doing a review of speakers or something, demand, like, why aren't you why doesn't your video have audio of the speakers?
Just play the speakers, let me listen to them, and I can judge for myself in your video review how those speakers sound. Yeah.
And they're like, you can't do that because, I don't know what you're listening through. I don't have the correct microphones. You're not hearing anything that I'm hearing. There's so many variables that go into it. So yes, no, Gary, this is no evidence.
No.
I don't know why you don't like OLED flesh tones. I can't imagine it has anything to do with the TV other than you've had all of them professionally calibrated. And you should tell the guy, I don't like the way the flesh tones look, and have him fix it, because that's what should happen in this case.
Yeah, no evidence whatsoever. There's just way too many variables. There's what camera were they using, what picture modes were, like sometimes when Artings is showing something as a demonstration, they don't actually have the TV calibrated the way that they tested it. They're just showing you so they can show you the interface, or they can show you the procedure. It isn't necessarily that you're actually looking at the final calibration that they used for their evaluation. So how is the TV actually calibrated? What camera are they using? What editing software are they using? What color correction did they do in the editing process? How much did it get lost in compression when they uploaded it to YouTube? What are you watching it back
YouTube
on?
Compression on top of everything else.
Yeah, what are you watching YouTube back on? Like, there's all of those things can affect the final image that you ultimately see, and those things can be completely different from what they were actually seeing themselves when they shot the video. They can look very different.
Yeah, I would not put too much stock into that. No. Jason lives in Canada, and would like to have some images printed on acoustically transparent fabric so that he can wrap his own 2-foot by 4-foot panels. He made a bunch of custom printed panels years ago, but he never kept track of all the receipts, and all he can recall is that the fabric was called Performance Knit. At least he's pretty sure about that.
Which sure sounds like Spoonflower, because Performance Knit was definitely the fabric we used to recommend from Spoonflower. They changed that. It became Performance PK. But back in the day, it was definitely Performance Knit from Spoonflower. I'm guessing that's where we pointed you before. These prints look great, by the way.
These panels look that he's got in his room.
Love these panels.
Look how good these panels look. If you're not looking at the images on the Flickr album or maybe YouTube, who knows? I mean, look at that. Look at this. Look at the Enterprise. How badly do I want that?
Yeah.
Like, and how good of a job did you do hanging it and wrapping it? That is insane.
And fair enough, he wants to make some more. I like that.
Send them to me. Oh my God, they're so good. He's got Superman. He's got Jaws. He's got a couple of hockey teams I don't care about. That looks like Unforgiven down there. Oh, so good.
It is.
So the thing is, he'd much prefer to keep the entire order all within Canada this time. I can't imagine why. Why would that be?
Who knows?
Who
Mysterious.
knows?
Mysterious.
It's a mystery for the ages. So can we point him to a Canadian company that could do the new printed fabric for him? And I'm sure Rob's got something.
I do indeed, except I don't actually know exactly what the prices they are charging for these this time. Because where I'm going to suggest that you go is Equus Fabrics, EQUUS Fabrics, though that is a Canadian company in Ontario. Now, what's important here, the reason I like them is they supply the acoustically transparent. They know about acoustic panels. They actually have it on their website. Like, this is appropriate for acoustic panels, because part of it is they are fire rated, and that is important, right? This is going to be exposed fabric that you're going to be hanging on your walls. It is important to have it fire rated. Equus offers dye sublimation, just like GIK Acoustic does, and that costs more. But they also have digital printing processes as well. So the thing is, they don't have a simple interface like GIK and Acoustimac do, where you can just upload the image all on their website and tell them the parameters and all that stuff. You need to communicate with them. Now, they're very good. Equus is very good. You can communicate with them via email or by a phone, and they absolutely know what you're talking about, and they will get you sorted out. But yeah, don't expect the prices to be cheap, because they do tend to prefer the dye sublimation for the acoustically transparent fabrics, and that does cost a bit more. So there is another place in Canada, which is Bags of Love. I know, funny name, but it's bagsoflove.ca. They do fabric printing. They actually have one that is just labeled as speaker grill cloth, which would absolutely work. But they have another one, which is, their eco fabric, which is actually very good. Works really well for pillowcases, and it's breathable in that way. But it's the fire rating thing. I would want to contact them and make sure that you're not going to have any problem with the fire rating. But Bags of Love would be less expensive. Just in either case, get in touch with them first. That's my recommendation.
All right. We have one question left, so we're going to go ahead and do it. It is a little bit longer, but... So we're going to go over, and this is not against my will for the first time ever. David has a dedicated home theater room. It's got some light control, but not total darkness. He's thinking he'd like to upgrade to a 98-inch or 100-inch display, and he'd like to keep the price under $5,000. The size is the only thing that keeps me from recommending an OLED. Really, because you can't get them that big, and if you could, they would be way higher than the $5,000.
I neglected to type it here, but he mentioned that they got their seats 10.5 feet from this wall where the TV is going to go, and with no intention of moving the seats. So 10.5 feet, 100 inches makes it 115 could work, honestly, if it fit within that budget. But you're not going to find a 115 for $5,000 right now. Because
some light control, but not total darkness, does not bother me with OLED. I've talked about 1,000 times before, and I will die on that hill. So naturally, he's considering offerings from TCL and Hisense, two companies we normally recommend. This will mostly be for movie viewing, although the kids will be playing Switch 2 on it sometimes as well, which isn't exactly a graphics-intensive console. His AV receiver is a Denon X4300H, in case that enters into the decision at all. So, any reason to favor TCL or Hisense or vice versa? Which 98 or 100-inch model under $5,000 would we point them to right now, and why? What about 115? I mean, can we do 115 for this price or no?
No. You're looking at about
fine.
$9,000 minimum for the 115.
Okay. Consider expending your budget and getting a bigger TV. That's what I say.
That's a lot more money, Tom.
Stretch that budget. Hey,
It's a lot more money.
we're rolling the money here in the States because our economy's so good, and everybody can find a job because that's the way it is right now.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it didn't help that the YouTube channel you were using to supplement got taken down all of a sudden in the purge.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Yeah.
So I'm gonna rather strongly favor. I like for the 98-inch size going with TCL. It is a bit anecdotal right now, but it's just sort of the overall reliability, and then also Hisense, they just love to overbrighten everything. You can wrangle them in with some calibration, but in some cases, that EOTF, that gamma tracking in HDR is just always overbrightened on the Hisenses, and there's not a whole lot you can do with it. So overall, I prefer the TCLs. You're talking about, he has got light control. It's not completely dark, but this also isn't like a bright sun-drenched room. So I would err towards better accuracy. And you're going to get that from the TCL QM8K. The 8K is the one that came out in 2025. And I prefer it for a couple of reasons. One, it costs less. The 98-inch size QM8K is $4,000. You can still find them right now. They're starting to dwindle in their supply because it is the 2025 model, but you can still find them right around $4,000 compared to the less expensive QM7K series or even the brand new QM7L series. It's just the more local dimming zones, better control over any blooming if you got some subtitles up there. It's not that there's no blooming whatsoever because this is still full array local dimming, but it's noticeably better on the QM8 with its several thousand more local dimming zones versus the QM7. Given that it does fit within the budget you talked about, I feel pretty strongly about going with the 98-inch QM8K. So the QM8L is, I've been mentioning throughout, all of 2026, this seems like the year where all of these companies, they tried to do something a little bit new with their current TVs, and I think the 2027 TVs are going to be excellent. But it seems like everybody across the board, barring maybe Sony, kind of they need to tweak their 2026 TVs because like the QM8L, according to all the reviews, it's like, well, it's got some EOTF tracking problems, and some of the color isn't quite accurate, and wrangling it into control via calibration is not the easiest thing, whereas the QM8K, you take it out of the box, you put it in filmmaker mode, and you're done. So it fits the budget, it's less expensive, it's more accurate than the one that replaced it. Get a 98-inch TCL QM8K, I say.
Okay. Any chance it would be worth it for the same $5,000 max budget to go down in size to 85 inches, but go to a higher series of TV or a different brand? If you have no intention of moving your seat, because I am the first one to tell you to go down in size, get an OLED.
Right.
And then move your seat forward.
If you're going to go down in size, it would be to switch to an OLED. It's not going to be to switch to a different brand of LCD or a different series of LCD even. It would be to get an OLED instead at the 83-inch size, yes.
Yeah. I just don't... 85 is... I mean, when we're thinking that 115...
would be nice.
Would be nice at your seating distance. Going all the way down to 85 is crazy talk.
It is very noticeable. For a similar field of view, if you move the seats 1 foot closer and you put the TV on an articulating wall mount and you pull it out from the wall by a foot every time you watch it, you've shrunk that viewing distance by 2 feet. You are now 8 or 8.5 feet from eyes to screen, and an 85-inch TV from 8 feet eyes to screen is a very similar field of view as a 98 or 100-inch screen from 10.5 feet away. So yes, you can get to the same field of view, but if the idea is you want to wall mount it on the TV, on the wall, you don't want to pull it out from the wall, you don't want to move the seat any closer, then the size is a very noticeable difference. So, I mean, I can make the argument, right? But also, that QM8K is a really good looking TV. Like, I could get used to that TV quite easily, and you know how much I love and prefer OLED, but I'm like, I'm not suffering while looking at that QM8K TV. It's a really nice TV.
Yeah. Like I said, if you're not willing to do the moving of things, then just get the bigger TV, the biggest that you can, to get that field of view. So, should he be concerned about video processing differences? Almost everything he watches will be coming from an Apple TV 4K. Nope.
TCL's gotten really good. Yeah. I mean, there are the test patterns that the testers can point to where they're like, this Sony scored 0.1 higher in my objective test. But on the TCLs have gotten really good. That is not a reason to avoid it whatsoever.
So which wall mount would we recommend for a 98-inch TV like this? I mean, there's a lot of them out there. I mean, I would go straight to Monoprice and see what they had. There's other ones. I mean, I don't know if you're looking for an articulating one or one that you can pull out, because that's really what it comes down to.
I went all the way to a full motion in case he wants any adjustability, and therefore this can adjust in any way that you want. It is worth noting, though, the QM8K is a little bit heavier than some other 98-inch TVs. It's over 130 pounds, and there's a lot of mounts out there that top out at 125 for the weight limit. And in addition to it being that little bit heavier, its VESA mounting pattern is a little bit larger than some other. A lot of other 98 inches are 600 by 600, and this one does an 800 by 600. And you have to have a mount that can accommodate that VESA pattern on the back. So I think it's worth spending a little bit more. I'm not going nuts here, but we are talking $215, which is not the cheapest you're going to find. But this is a full motion mount from Mount It, which actually is rated to go all the way up to the 115-inch TVs. But given that QM8 it's a little bit bigger and heavier than is sometimes common with some of the other 98 or 100 inches. So $215 I don't think is an outlandish amount of money to pay for one that can hold 264 pounds. So even if you pull this thing out from the wall, you're not going to be worried at all, and can go up to the large. I think this one can go to the 1,000 by 800 VESA pattern or something along those lines. It's an extra large full motion mount. But given that, yes, it's about $100 more than some other mounts you can find that would meet the minimum requirements to mount the QM8K, I'm like, let's overbuild it a little bit. $100 I don't think is the make or break here.
Maybe it's not. I don't know. So does he need anything special in the way of HDMI cables compared to what?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if
he's doing Apple TV 4K, so you just see something that does what Ultra HD, whatever the rated cable
premium
is.
High speed, 18 gigabits per second is all you need for an Apple TV 4K. Same for the Switch 2. Switch 2 isn't going above HDMI 2.0, no. 18 gigabits per second. So, I mean, it depends. I don't know where his equipment is placed in this room.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too, right?
If it's all in a stand below the TV, then, a 10 or a 60 or a 6 or a 10-foot HDMI cable is going to be perfectly fine, and there's really no concerns. Any premium high-speed rated cable will do. If it's farther away, then I'm going to just always mention Rui Pro, because to me, Rui Pro for a long length is the solution. Like, I'm not going to do anything other than their data center cable with the detachable HDMI plug ends on either end for a long cable run. I'm going to point you to Rui Pro.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, that's it for this week. We want to thank our listeners of the week. We want to thank all our 119 patrons over at patreon.com/AVRant podcast, as well as those in the past who've gone to avrant.com, clicked on the buy us a cup of coffee link, and sent us a PayPal donation.
Yes, indeed. Again, that is patreon.com/AVRant podcast if you'd like to sign up to make an automatic monthly donation. So a big thanks to our 119 patrons over there.
And we also got notes of gratitude from Steve, Martin, Leighton, Jason, and David. Thank you for thanking us.
For sure. Those names one more time were Steve, Martin, Leighton, Jason, and David. Thank you very much for the notes of gratitude and encouragement. We really do appreciate them. And a big thank you to everybody who continues to listen and send in your questions.
If you want to get your question answered, all you have to do is ask. You ask by emailing us at question@avrant.com. For AVRant, I'm Tom Andry.
And I'm Rob H. Now go out and listen to something.
Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.